You're watching NTC News, DeKalb County's only television news source, on the campus of Northern Illinois University and from the Northern Television Center. This is NTC News Tonight.
Classes are back in session and the NIU campus is back to normal today. As normal as you could expect after the bomb threat that caused an evacuation last week. Good evening, I'm Breogan. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Breanna Flood. NIU is one of the several schools in Illinois that received bogus bomb threats. Somebody called in threats to the O'Hare campus of DePaul University and to the University of Illinois Chicago. Earlier in this week, the College of DuPage was evacuated after a similar threat. Police can't say if there's any connection. This is what it looked like here on Thursday night. University officials put out the word to evacuate all buildings, not only the main campus here on DeKalb, but at its regional campus site as well. Students got emails and text alerts telling them to go to the Convocation Center. President Doug Baker said they were taking no chances with the safety of the students, faculty, and staff. Each residence hall had to be cleared by police before students were allowed to go back to their rooms. The last residence hall was cleared around 11 o'clock that night.
The Star Wars Battlefront beta came out, so I'm playing that, and I get this message, and I'm like, this is the last thing I wanted.
And I was like, a bomb? Oh my gosh. So then I quickly left. I have to grab everything I can within 2 seconds and run out of the building.
It kind of sucks. I don't like it. What do you think?
I haven't eaten all day, so it's the first time I get to
eat.
We
were eating, and then a cop came in and was like, you gotta get out, and we were like, okay, and then we left.
If you'd like to get NIU's emergency text alerts to your cell phone, sign up through the link under emergency info on NIU's website.
A murder charge is being dropped against one of the two men arrested in a murder last week here in DeKalb. 25-year-old Trevor Matzinger is accused of being involved in a drug deal in which a DeKalb man was fatally shot in the chest. It happened at this house on Pleasant Street. Police say the drug deal was a robbery set up that went bad. Matzinger still faces a felony drug charge for carrying cocaine.
A company requesting a permit to operate a medical marijuana dispensary in Sycamore is no longer interested. The state only issues one permit per district, but there are 4 different companies competing for the permit. One of the companies just backed out of the competition, even though permit application was under discussion. Sycamore City Manager says the company will have to go through the permit request process again if they change their minds.
It's a phrase becoming all too familiar. A state-funded center will soon be closing.
Reporter Chris Larson has more on the Agriculture Research Center, whose closing could affect many people in our community.
On here. But research projects are being conducted everywhere you look. From corn to soybeans and even weeds, all kinds of crops are being tested all year round. The Northern Illinois Agronomy Research Center has been operating here in DeKalb County for several years, but now its future is unclear.
We really don't know all of the future plans or whether they can be reversed, but we're a little saddened and disappointed.
The center operates as part of the University of Illinois' Department of Crop Sciences. As another victim of the current state budget crisis, the center will soon be closing. Russ Higgins has been working at the 160-acre site for many years. Higgins and his team study the habits and patterns of growth of many crops and other plants. The team also uses backpack sprayers and other devices to test pesticides and other chemicals. The closing affects those directly employed at the center, but might have just as great of an effect on agriculture in the state and DeKalb County.
The big loss, I think, is going to be more the local resource. We've got Russ Higgins down there currently, and Russ just provides a wealth of information to the local farmers and farmers in Northern Illinois.
Closings of centers such as this one are a hard reality to face for farmers and those close to agriculture, a reality Higgins is becoming familiar with.
It's challenging times here in Illinois, and economics are a challenge, obviously, on the university level, and it's challenging for farmers.
Few are completely certain of what will become of the center and its facilities in the future, but research continues to push forward. In DeKalb, Chris Larson, NTC News.
The research center expects to close sometime next spring.
Former NIU controller Keith Jackson is suing the university and several of its officials. Jackson filed the suit in federal court earlier this month against NIU, its board of trustees, President Baker, and a former CFO, Nancy Suttonfield. He wants his job back, and since he was put on involuntary paid leave last year.
NIU's bus line, the Husky Line, is getting a new GPS system next semester. Student Association Director of Mass Transit says the system we have now has a lot of errors that need to be fixed. NIU will be responsible for paying a $6,000 increase for the new system. 5 of the Husky Safe Line vans will be receiving tracking devices.
It may be hard to believe, but it's already been 6 months since the tiny town called Fairdale was leveled to the ground by an F4 tornado.
And people there are still recovering. I was there this weekend to see how the people of Fairdale are rebuilding their community. This sign reading "Cherish Life, Simple Pleasure" stands on the lawn where there once stood a building. And even after a tornado tore this tiny community apart, Fairdale is rebuilding its entire infrastructure. And they're doing it all without any government aid.
No federal, state, or county funds, no government funds, not a dime.
When you're talking about the destruction of an F4 tornado, you're talking about more than just a bunch of loose rubble. You're talking about the demolition of entire buildings. And how does a community come back from that?
We wanted to identify those people who were going to take their time, their volunteer time, to raise the monies, and from a multitude of private donors. We raised $1.5 million, as you saw from the press release.
Besides dealing with the death of some of their neighbors and the destruction of their tiny town, residents are healing from other wounds money can't fix.
People still struggling. Trauma really does start to rise about the 6 to 12 month time. People are experiencing nightmares and flashbacks and general anxiety.
So while some people have taken their once beloved home, demolished it to sell the land, and left town to try and heal, others have taken the destruction they were given and started rebuilding to create new memories in the place they have always called home. For NTC News in Fairdale, I'm Aaron Breogan.
For more information on how you can help the people of Fairdale, visit the recovery page at fairdalerecovery.org.
And it looks like today is a beautiful day to volunteer. Emery Dhanes is out at our weather station now.
It feels great out here today since those morning clouds gave way to sunny skies this afternoon. Hopefully you got out there to enjoy it because the rest of this week will be cooler. Let's take a look at Tuesday's temperatures, where we'll see highs in the low to mid 60s with sunny skies and strong winds. To hear more about the sunny but breezy conditions to come, stay with us. You're watching NTC News Tonight.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Everyone, I hope you're all enjoying the sunny skies we've seen today. It is relatively warm out there with a high of about 73 degrees today, but if you were out there earlier, you saw that we did have some clouds out there in association with a cold front passing through earlier today. And after those clouds went through, we were left with sunshine, but very windy conditions, gusting up to about 35 miles per hour. I know I even saw someone lose their hat. Luckily, they were able to retrieve it. Let's take a look at the larger scale. We have this low up here, an associated cold front that passed through our area earlier today. And as that moves off into Tuesday, we'll be left with nothing very exciting going on in our area. We'll have sunny skies on Tuesday, and then going into Wednesday, same thing, nothing but high pressure kind of near us, so sunny skies as well for Wednesday. Looking at tonight, we'll see mostly clear conditions, an overnight low of about 43 degrees. It will be pretty chilly though, since we still do have those gusty winds. So if you go out tonight, be sure to bring a jacket. And then for Tuesday, we'll see mostly sunny conditions with a high of about 60 degrees, but that wind is still sticking around, so it'll feel a little bit cooler than that. And then when we go into Tuesday night, mostly clear conditions with an overnight low of about 38 degrees, and those winds are finally starting to die down to what we're more used to. Now let's take a look at our 5-day weather forecast. Again, on Tuesday, high of about 60 degrees with sunny skies. Then Wednesday and Thursday, highs in the mid-60s. We do have a slight chance of rain on Thursday, but other than that, we'll have clear skies. And then looking at Friday and Saturday, we jump down about 10 degrees in temperature into the mid-50s, but we still do have those sunny skies. So hopefully that sun continues into next week. That's all for weather. Let's send it back to the desk.
Another weekend for violence in Chicago.
And the state budget battle is claiming a new set of victims. These are today's state lines.
3 people were killed and at least 17 others were wounded in shootings across the city between Friday night and this morning. A man was killed and 2 others were injured in a shooting early yesterday in the Washington Park neighborhood.
Illinois budget battle is limiting payments to compensate people for those that were wrongfully incarcerated. The payments are based on a formula that considers how long inmates were in custody. After months without state's blending plan, there is still no sign that lawmakers are close to a deal.
2 people were severely injured Sunday after their motorcycle crashed during a charity motorcycle ride in Carpentersville. It happened when a Warrenville man swerved to avoid a helmet that fell off another motorcycle involved in the ride. Police are not sure whether they were wearing helmets.
Medical services for veterans in East Central Illinois have been hit by a bug infestation. Officials say a Veterans Affairs medical building in Danville is infested with fleas. AVA spokesman says raccoons moved in when construction work disturbed the exterior of the medical building. And those are today's state lines.
Tension is building after an explosion ripped through a peace rally in Turkey.
And violence continues to grow in Israel. Here's what's happening in today's World Watch.
In Turkey, sorrow and outrage are growing just days after 2 explosions ripped through a peace rally. Thousands of people gathered in Ankara yesterday to remember those who died. A scuffle broke out earlier after police prevented a group from laying flowers. At least 95 people were killed and more than 500 wounded.
Violence is spreading in Israel and the West Bank. Palestinian authorities said a 13-year-old boy was killed during clashes with Israeli security. The Palestinian death toll is now at 10 as the violence continues. Earlier today, 2 Israelis were stabbed. Security and more police forces are on the streets in the Old City.
Computer maker Dell says it has agreed to buy data storage company EMC Corporation in a record $67 billion technology deal. The merger will unite 2 companies and create an enterprise technology powerhouse. This will help privately held Dell diversify from a stagnant personal computer market.
Southwest Airlines hopes to resolve technical issues that troubled the carrier and its passengers. Hundreds of passengers waited in line for hours just to get their bags checked. At least 450 flights were delayed. Southwest is advising flyers to arrive at the airport at least 2 hours early. And that's today's World Watch.
Welcome to NTC Sports. I'm Ryan Mack. The Cubbies are back to 1-1 after being down a game in their playoff series with the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cubs brought the series back after a big win on Saturday. Let's see how that game went down. Kyle Hendricks pitching for the Cubs, Matt Carpenter at the plate. He puts one deep into center field, a solo home run for Carpenter. The Cardinals put the first run on the board. Now top of the second, Cubs up 3-1, and Jorge Soler launches one way out to center field. Now he puts in 2 runs, so the Cubs are up 5-1. Now 6-1, Chicago, bottom of the 5th, St. Louis trying to make a comeback. Colton Wong hits one deep on the right side. That goes over the fence, and now Randall Grichuk at the plate. He also puts one deep, this time into left field. That one over the fence for back-to-back home runs for the Cardinals. But the Cards can't pull back. Grounder to third, and Chris Bryant throws to first for the easy out. The Cubs walk away with this one and tie the series up 1-1. Moving over to the NFL, the Chicago Bears walked away with a victory on Sunday after a close game with the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's take a look. Early in the first quarter, Jay Cutler drops back into the end zone. He is sacked, which looks like a safety, but it's a fumble. Recovered by Ramik Wilson, and the Chiefs get an early 7 points. Now Alex Smith drops back for Kansas City and finds DeAnthony Thomas, who runs in the 20-yard touchdown. 14-3, things not looking good for the Bears at this point. Now Chiefs up 17-6, but Cutler drops back, sends a pass deep to Marquise Wilson in the end zone for 6 points. There's a little pickup for them. Fourth quarter, under a minute to go, and Cutler drops the snap, but then throws to Forte in the end zone. He puts up 6 points. That puts the Bears to 18-17. Now Santos tries a 66-yard field goal attempt. That is way off, short and wide. Bears walk away with the win, 18-17. Staying in the NFL for one amazing catch, here's today's play of the day. Quarterback Josh McCown out of the shotgun, pressure on. He throws to Gary Barnidge, who pulls down the ball. He fumbles it around in his hands, but did he drop that one? Here's the replay. Barnidge grabs that between his legs. The ball doesn't touch the ground. He squeezes that one between the legs, and Browns take the win, and Barnidge takes today's play of the day. That's all for today. Emily Beebe will be back with us for more on Wednesday.
This job looks perfect. It says you need people skills.
Check.
Driver's license.
Check.
And a high school diploma. You've got one of those, right?
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
I got that. You are good to go.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
If you have a Caribbean vacation coming up, you might find an unpleasant surprise.
Many beaches are experiencing an alarming seaweed invasion that's scaring away tourists. The Dominican Republic is desperately searching for a solution, but in some places the levels of seaweed are overwhelming. Beaches in Punta Cana and Boca Chica have restored the situation, but others are forced to close. For a country that relies heavily on tourism for income, local vendors are concerned with this crisis, and some have already canceled their vacations.
Well, today doesn't seem like a day where I'd want to go out and sunbathe. Let's send it out to Emery for one last check at our weather.
Don't forget, Tuesday will be about 10 degrees cooler than it was today, and it'll be very windy, so be sure to bring along a jacket in addition to those sunglasses.
NTC News Tonight is produced and directed by students here at Northern Illinois University. We thank you all for joining us.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll be back the same time Wednesday. Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.